That's not a hug. I'm just grabbing the door for you. We're not there yet.
Hey! We're recording the podcast! Shut up!
Good morning to you, wherever you are, because it is morning and somewhere! November 20th, 2024. Still was early.
Snuck that one in there.
My name is Bernie Burns, sitting right over there. She's so happy it's a snow day. Parents love snow days. It's Ashley Burns. Hi to Ashley, everybody.
You get that email from the school. The school's closed this morning, and you go, oh, shit.
There's a shift where it happens at some point. It's usually after you leave school. We have a snow day here in not so sunny Scotland.
Actually, it is very sunny right now.
It is. It's really nice.
It's a lovely day as long as you don't go outdoors. Just look out the window, and it's a beautiful, beautiful day.
I went out there. I had to go take care of ducks this morning, so I had to go out there and make sure the ducks were okay. The ducks are fine. So are the chickens. Everybody's doing good out there in the snow.
They love the snow.
They do.
Me, I like looking at the snow.
When we first came out here and we started to gather our flocks, get our livestock, I would say to locals, like, what should we do with these animals? Like in the winter, should we do anything special? They're like, no.
Like, why would you do that?
Don't do anything special whatsoever. And we learned that maybe that's not the best advice. So we have winter enclosures for the chickens. We have winter enclosures for the ducks.
Like a kiddie pool and that kind of stuff, and then teaching them that we're on their side and we're putting them indoors for their own good at night, and we're not actually trying to kill them has been an uphill battle.
Yes, Ashley gets hissed at by this one duck. It goes when it sees her. He's
very spicy, but I keep getting hands on him. I get hands on him, and I pick him up and I put him in his little room for the night. It's all got like straw, and he can like snuggle in and actually be warm. Because I don't want foxes, or I don't know if badgers can climb. I don't think they can, but I know foxes can, or like owls or something getting into the enclosure at night. Because he kept trying to sleep in the kiddie pool.
I'm used to hearing about animals that don't exist where we grew up, because you don't literally just like randomly grab animals and bring them to other countries. That seems like a bad idea. Like here they have something.
Ask Australia.
Yeah, here they have something called a pine marten.
It seems like kind of like a weasel.
It's basically a weasel. Yeah, it's kind of like a
weasel with extra steps.
A weaselly ferret thing, like somewhere between a weasel and a ferret is what it looks like, and it eats chickens. So we try to keep them away if we can, but they're also protected. So we have to be like, "Hey, you, stop it."
We use strong language, basically, to
right.
chase them.
It's like gentle parenting, but for local fauna.
Well, it's fine. The gentle parenting works just as well.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it does. So just like the duck that hisses at Ashley, we should all like pour one out for her right now, because Ashley has this thing going on where our 1-year-old has decided that, according to psychologists, Ashley is the person with whom she feels the most comfortable. Basically, that means she gets to torture Ashley emotionally all day long. You're like a hostage for that little girl.
Like repeatedly. It's like, imagine having a Pokemon that follows you around all day and then screams at you, just shrieks at you for hours on end. And when you finally lose it and you're like, I just need some space, they go, hi, mama.
And then she tries to wrap you around her little
you
finger.
little manipulator. I'm on to you.
Manipulator.
I'm on to you.
But she's great for everybody. Like we have little like lovely little times together. She's a little cuddly with me. Everyone who comes to visit, she's like so nice to them. They're babysitters. She loves her. And then Ashley walks in the room and suddenly she has like an epic meltdown. Like she can finally, I guess, let go when you're in the room.
Yeah, I'm told that this means that she feels safe to misbehave around me, because she knows that I will never leave her or not love her. And I just want to say, Evie, be less confident.
I consulted male psychologists, and I think the official term for this is better you than me. Because she's hammering on you constantly. Watching you make dinner with this like screaming little demon like hanging off of you is it's challenging to watch it. I can't imagine what it's like to live through it.
So, other parents out there, I see you.
When you came into a snow day, so when they came in from making snow angels yesterday, Ashley was like, I think Evie's had horns. I noticed, yeah, it's like, why does Evie's snow angel have the wings ripped off and there's a big scorch mark in the snow? But you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
we will get through this.
So today's
We
a
will
good
get
snow
through
day.
this.
So we're also going, weird term here. They don't call it sledding. They call it sledging. I have no idea why. It's sledging here. You have a
Look,
sledge.
in America, the G is silent. So this year, we actually already in November, this is like record, I think, for the area. This is like the earliest cold winter night. The terminology is very strange, but basically it's very cold much earlier than it usually is. We got quite a bit of snow.
Since
so we have,
1998.
So we have proper sledging opportunities now.
I think sledging, I think that might come because we both derived the word and the verb from the word sleigh. And maybe the English version kept the G more than the American English version.
Maybe, or if you put someone on a sledge, it's like basically 2 tracks, like almost like wood poles with like a platform or like a sling in between them that you could put things and then pull it along. Is that a sledge?
It sounds like something you build in 7 Days to Die.
No. But we do enjoy winter quite a bit. I know we're complaining about it a lot, but there's a lot of fun things about winter. We get to make simmer pots, which is one of Bernie's favorite things. We used to call it like stovetop potpourri.
I'll give you a little life hack here, if I may. A little life hack. Now that we're in November, we're heading in towards Thanksgiving if you live in America, or into the holiday season in general. Get yourself a little pot. Get yourself a little saucepan, as Ashley says.
A saucepan.
A pot. Put it on the stove. Fill it with some water. Put in there, slice up some apple. Slice up some orange, like horizontally, so they're like really pretty looking. Put those in there. Put it in there with a little bit of, put some cinnamon in there. Some ground clove if you've got it.
Maybe throw an allspice berry in if you're feeling brave.
Maybe a couple cranberries if you've got those just laying around, but do that and just let it go. Mainly the cinnamon, the clove, the ground clove is the most important thing. Put it in there. And just like
nice low heat, just let it like warm up, and then it just
makes the house smell amazing.
The nice smell all through the house. And you can get creative with it if you want. You can throw in like lemon and orange and rosemary.
Yeah,
like
rosemary.
Go wild. You can do whatever scents tickle your nose.
So
you
maybe
can,
some
you can put in there.
beef bouillon. This is not to be eaten, by the way. This is just to make the house smell nice. Nice little simmer pot. So a little bit of sliced orange, a little bit of sliced apple, cinnamon, clove, and then some cranberries.
And then the real trick is set a reminder or something on your watch or your phone or whatever to check it on a frequent basis and top it up. Because if it boils down and goes dry, first of all, that's a hazard. And second of all, it goes from smelling really lovely to smelling burnt.
Like burnt, yeah.
You'll know.
Sugar.
You'll know immediately.
Yeah. And you also, whatever pot you use to do this will become the pot for that. So don't use a really good pot for this.
I've seen on Instagram these very like aesthetic, like clear glass pots, and I'm like, no, we're not doing that.
Because you'll leave it going for like a few hours on like the lowest heat setting, and then sure enough, all the water evaporates, and then you're like, what is that horrible smell in our house?
But until that point, it smells really, really great.
It's amazing. It makes the whole house smell like holidays.
One of the other really fun things about winter here in Scotland is they don't have, they don't call them snow plows here. They call them gritters. So they're a combination of, they have a snowplow on the front, and then on the back they have the big tank, and it's I think it's a combination of salt and sand. It's grit. They grit the roads. So they'll plow the snow off the front, and then along the back they just drop a bunch of sand and salt to melt any leftover ice, and then the sand provides traction on the roads. And there's a fun thing in Scotland in particular where there's a map. Traffic Scotland has a map of all the gritters that are out and about. And everyone who has a gritter seems to be in competition with everyone else who owns a gritter to name their gritter the most ridiculous thing possible. So I'm going to read you some of the gritter names. Are you ready for this?
Before you do that, can I complain? Because I feel like we should end on the high note.
You may.
I need someone to talk to me about this, because my whole life, and I understand the thermodynamics behind it, that you spread salt on frozen steps, walkways, things like that. It helps the ice melt. I've done this probably 1 billion times in my life. I might be overestimating. When I do it, I spread the salt out. What I end up with is a perfectly uniform sheet of ice, except with little holes wherever the salt landed, and that's it. What am I doing wrong?
Look, that's what it seems like at first. It would help if you gave your salt bucket a creative name. But also, we have found that over time, it does help more than it seems. Like areas of our driveway that we've salted do melt better than the areas that have not been salted.
A little bit. A little bit.
But sometimes every little bit helps.
Like, there's got to be, because I grew up in the north, in upstate New York, where we had tons of huge snowdrifts. Lots of winter weather. But I was like 8 when I left. I wasn't doing that kind of stuff. I was shoveling snow or building snow forts. I wasn't like maintaining the icy drive.
Right, you weren't like studying the thermodynamics of salt and doing experiments to see whether once it gets driven over and the tires of cars pick up salt and carry it along and continue to disseminate the salt if that has a cumulative positive effect on the melting.
This is pure ignorance from a Texas guy. Please help me figure this out. What am I doing wrong with this? Anyway, now on your funny names for salt trucks.
All right, here. So I'm going to read you some of the names of the gritters that are currently out and about. All right, we have the Blizzard of Oz. We have Coldfinger. We have...
These are named by the public?
I suspect these are named by the drivers. You know, we've been to, this is a thing with like lorry culture here as well. We find that people who drive like the big semis and stuff, they'll customize the interior of the cab,
big time,
of their lorries and things like that, just to, you know, have fun with it, right? If you're on the road a lot for a living, you have to take your joy where you can find it. And these guys, I think, take their joy in naming their stuff really ridiculous.
But there's a vanity thing too, like what you're talking about, the customization of the big lorries. Like imagine in the US, the 18-wheelers, you see them coming down the road towards you from the other direction. And when you look in the cab, there's the guy sitting there, but behind him, there's a gigantic like light display behind the guy in the cab. It's for you, it's not for him. And maybe they have their name on it or something like that. Like it's a big lighted display. I'll have to post a link in the link dump. There's got to be images of these things out there. And I've never seen anything like it before. I don't understand it at all.
We've occasionally seen them as well. Occasionally there'll be like a truck show in a town nearby, and we'll take the kids because, of course, they love that sort of stuff.
It's like they're doing a talk show in the cab or something like that. I don't know what's going on up there.
They're recording a podcast, Bernie.
It's all podcasts all the way down. All right, give us a few more names here.
Okay, we've got antifreeze. We've got...
Anti meaning like an ant?
Yes, like antifreeze.
Oh, it's all puns.
Yeah, they all are. Sled Zeppelin.
That's okay. Wouldn't it be Sledge Zeppelin here? I don't know.
I mean, look, they have to make it work with the names that they've got.
Okay, gotcha.
Let's see. License to Chill, Salt Disney, Lord Coldemort, Double Snow 7. There's a lot of fun ones. So I'll put
There's some on there that aren't named though. They're like the party poopers who are like keeping it real and they're not naming their salt truck.
They're the ones who are refusing to put a like display in the back of their lorry cabs, Bernie.
Like, how dare you? This is a professional organization. We're not doing this. Thank God they didn't have a vote on it because you know every name would be Gritty McGritface.
Or you mean Gritty Gritty Bang Bang, which is another one that's currently on the road in the west of
Bang
Scotland.
Bang. That's fine. Yeah, it just feels like once.
I'm pretty sure there is a Gritty McGritface somewhere. I don't know if he's working today or if he's maybe either on break or there's like in the sort of Edinburgh-Glasgow corridor, there's a mess of these gritters. They are everywhere. They're doing so much work on the roads in that area because there's a lot of roads. And so I can't actually see all the names in that area. This is one area where the urban workers really suffer, Bernie, because they're not getting the name recognition really that these more regional gritters are getting.
Well, the people are entrepreneurs if they move out to the country. You know, most might be city employees in there. But yesterday we were talking about the Game of the Year awards and the nominees, how we hadn't played any one of them. A lot of people in our Reddit comments said, you guys should really try Balatro. You guys should really play that game. Let me tell you something. Participation is not mandatory. Do not make suggestions like that anymore.
Because they work on him.
I played that game for like 6 hours last night.
I walked in the room at one point. I was like, oh, you're playing the Balatro. I was like, so is it?
Oh my God. I was like, come here, look at this. Look at that.
Poker with like extra steps or whatever. And you were like, yeah, but it's like this. And you were like drawing me charts. You were explaining all those things. What my response was, that seems really great. It seems like a lot of fun. I'm so happy for you. And then I went in the room and turned on Netflix and I got sad that the stripper Christmas movie wasn't out yet.
It's
out today though.
I watched her turn on her heel and walk away. Like you made a choice to not be introduced to this game. And that was such a smart choice. It's a great game, by the way. Whether or not it's Game of the Year, I can't say. I'm not qualified to say.
Well, clearly, of all the candidates, however, it is currently your Game of the Year because it is the one that you've played.
We went a bit long in that segment yesterday, and I did cut a section out where I went through all the games and said what I thought they looked like. And for Balatro, I said, it looks like the game you would see in the little countertop kiosk at the end of a bar that some dude plays. and it looks like that's what it looks like to me. And that's 100% what the graphics for this thing looks like. It's like they didn't make any effort, I don't feel like, to update the graphics on it. It looks like a 16-bit game.
Well,
but it works really well.
Very pixelated look, very intentionally, and which I think means it's also going to age well. When things,
but to me, it doesn't shrink down to modern mobile phones that well. Like I played it on desktop for a while, and then someone said you don't need Apple Arcade to do it. You can just buy it standalone, which I did, and then I just didn't like it as much on mobile. That being said, the first day I'm in an airport and I'm sitting there, looking for something to do, I'm going to bust out Balatro and play it. Great game. I highly recommend it. And that is not financial advice in any way whatsoever.
Or time management advice. But if you have a snow day, good way to pass a little bit of time.
So thank you very much to everyone who made the recommendation, and also go fuck yourself.
Speaking of video games, a big headline about Minecraft. Minecraft has now got a theme park deal, a $110 million global theme park deal, starting in the UK and the US, which I think this is a really great idea. So the deal is with Merlin Entertainments, which is apparently Europe's largest theme park operator.
Apparently it's second to Disney.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about that. So that's really good to know. But they've now signed a deal for some Minecraft parks that they're hoping to open in 2026 and 2027. I'm not sure if they're going to build new parks, if they're going to add them in like worlds to some existing parks. But either way, I think Minecraft is a perfect property for something like that.
I agree with you. And to give people hope, this group that controls these different amusement parks, they also run Legoland. So
great.
Yeah,
okay.
That's a great sign for a Minecraft theme park, or it could be something like, when they said they were second largest at Disney, I thought, do they run Six Flags? Because Six Flags seems like it would be larger, but the world is a big place. So.
Yeah, well, they run apparently, aside from things like Legoland, they run Alton Towers. It looks like Sea Life, Madame Tussauds, the London Eye. So
so maybe it's just like overall locations.
Maybe
they determine the size of it. Yeah,
maybe. But I love the idea of having walked into Toontown and things like that in Disney, where you go in and it's kind of it almost throws your mind for a loop when things have that sort of unreal, stylized, cartoony look to them, and it just, you feel like you've gone into a different type of world. I feel like Minecraft can do that sort of thing really, really well.
Yeah, and you remember it was a few years ago. It was during COVID lockdown or just after that they opened a Super Mario theme park in Universal Studios Japan.
Yes, and
I haven't really heard about it since they did that though.
Yeah, I haven't either. As far as I heard at the time, it was doing really, really well.
It looked cool.
And it was sold out forever. So maybe that's why it might still be difficult to get into it. But you're right. I haven't seen it popping up a lot sort of in memes, which I would expect.
I'm really weird, and you've discovered this about me. I don't know. It's not something I ever felt like I had to hide, but it is weird to talk about. I don't like theme parks. In fact, when Disney adults, I love to make fun of Disney adults. I think it's such a weird thing. I am really weird. I love shitty carnivals, carnivals that they come and they set up in a day.
Oh, the ones that you can go and look in the supports for the Ferris wheel or cinder blocks.
You can watch them rocking off of their feet. I love that stuff. I don't know why. We would get really JD and Teddy. We've been to Legoland in Carlsbad, California. But growing up, I would take him to carnivals, and Finn too. It's I've been taking him to little circuses that they set up.
The little fun fairs, the ones where you'll see you'll see a poster for it up in the hardware store. Mm-hmm. And you're yeah, we're going to that.
Yeah, and I was reminded of one of the reasons why, in general, I tend to avoid amusement parks. There was a story just recently. This is from November 19th. You can watch the video as riders are rescued after being stuck mid-air at a California amusement park. Technical problems on an amusement ride at Knott's Berry Farm in Southern California kept more than 20 riders stuck in the air for all of Monday afternoon.
Oh, no.
And it's one of those rides where it's arms coming off of it and everyone's sitting in chairs. Some of the people are just sitting up there upright. Some of them are completely upside down. Some of them are sideways, leaning against the sides of the supports.
Man, I'm going to be in full panic mode if that's me stuck up there, holding on for dear life going, when they reboot the ride, does it put the safety arm up?
Yeah. Oh, God. Thank God you weren't up there with those people. Just putting that out in the world.
No, it's terrifying. So they were stuck up there for hours.
Well, the upside down thing is crazy. I don't know if you remember this or not one time. Out of everything we did at Rooster Teeth, The one thing that I had no idea was going to possibly hurt people was we did an immersion where it was a Last of Us immersion. In the first Last of Us game, there's a part where the main character Joel is hanging upside down, and there's this really cool sequence where you have to fight upside down as zombies are charging you. He gets caught in like a
snare trap or something,
yeah,
right?
Yanks him up by his ankle. And so we did an immersion like that. The people that we did, it was some of the Funhouse guys and some of the Rushi people. They weren't hanging upside down for more than like 3 minutes at a time. And it was like, that was one of the only times we ever had to get like medical personnel that we had on staff to come out and see them. Like some of them almost passed out, like turned completely gray.
I remember
we had to stop the shoot because it was, I didn't realize how hanging upside down can be such a dangerous thing.
I remember afterwards seeing, someone had like almost like little broken blood vessels in the face.
James Willems.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
And it just like these little tiny like red marks where little blood vessels had just burst from being upside down for this short period of time. That's crazy.
And they were gray. They were like completely gray, like pale, and just like it was pretty scary. Yeah. And so like we had to figure out a way to like cut the shoot completely short. They were incredibly like they were troopers about it. And they were like, well, maybe we could do like 30 seconds at a time. I was like, I don't really want, this was a scary thing.
Maybe let's just pull the plug on this one.
Yeah. I think we got something out of it, but man, that was a shockingly, surprisingly dangerous thing to do.
So, but as far as we know, everyone on this ride is okay.
Yeah. It makes me wonder this though about that, because I saw that happen in real time. When someone's hanging upside down for like 2 or 3 hours, what the fuck do they do with them?
Maybe they're able to like rock the chairs a little bit. Remember the video we saw it was a few months ago now of there's like an older lady who would go on these rides and she would just start spinning like really crazy. And that was just a thing that she enjoyed doing. So maybe if they just like get up enough momentum, they can just like start spinning and really, balance out where all the blood pressure is being spread.
Yeah. That's crazy because sometimes you can't possibly predict like what's going to be dangerous. Like for the Amazing Race, we jumped off of buildings, we were out in the ocean, waiting with like, I had these huge like salt containers over my shoulders. The most dangerous thing we did was bake bread.
That was definitely our biggest injury. I did get a really terrible sunburn as well.
Oh, that's true. But you like almost like cooked your fingertips at one point.
I did. I had these big blisters on the sides of my fingers from grazing the inside of these lavash ovens.
Yeah, you can never predict it. But they had medical personnel on that as well. Like these former Navy SEALs who all tended to actually.
they're like boop boop boop, putting lavender oil on my blisters. Like they're like, it's gonna be okay. with the like military like sunglasses and like the baseball cap and the glare, and then boop 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 lavender oil that they were carrying along just in case.
All right, well, Ashley, who are we going to be naming our salt trucks after today?
All right, today's salt trucks are Dan Fedinition and Zen. Thank you both for sponsoring this episode of our show at patreon.com/morningsomewhere. And you know what? If you have a gritter name, I want to hear it. And do not say Gritty McGritface. Anything else is on board.
Say Gritty McGritface.
Don't say it.
Just go with the classic meme. Go with the A material. All right, well, that does it for us today. November 20th, 2024. We will be back to talk to you tomorrow. We hope you will be here as well.
Bye, everybody.